and today I thought I'd share with you the 9 books I read in January of 2022. So here they all are. That one took a while to read, but let's get started. So the first book I read in January was this one. It is The Secret History by Donna Tartt, and this was a 5-star read for me. I really enjoyed this book, and it's about classic students in a university in America, and they have kind of a strange professor who does things in a weird way, and it kind of follows the events before and after a character's death and the narrator's reasoning for what happened and his narrative of what the story explores. I found it very interesting and very compelling to read. I felt I couldn't put it down at times. Like, we went to the cinema and I was like reading this whilst the adverts were on. It was a very good book. Okay, so the second book I read is The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. Now, this is an amazing book. I really enjoyed this book. It's quite fluffy, but it's also quite tense at the same time. You really do enjoy the plot. So it's about a PhD student called Olive, and who gets herself in a bit of a sticky situation where she's convinced her friend that she's seeing someone, and in her head she's like, I'll just kiss the first person I see to prove it. And then it turns out to be a professor. And the story kind of explores their relationship, how it intertwines and grows, and also defeats some really horrible people in the process. Also, before I forget, The Love Hypothesis was a 4 stars from me. So the third book I read this year, I actually read in one 4-hour sitting. Can you guess what it is? 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Now, this book is phenomenal. Taylor Jenkins Reid is an amazing author. This was my introduction to her, and her story was beautifully written, and Evelyn is such a complex character. I really enjoyed delving into all the aspects of her life, so that was another 5-star for me. It's very enjoyable. If you've maybe watched one of my other videos about picking a random book, maybe watch that one first, but spoiler alert, this was the random book. It's The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon, and it was amazing. I really enjoyed this book. It was nice to get back into fantasy, and I read this over the course of 4 or 5 days. I mean, I will say this is before college started, so I had a lot more free time to enjoy. And I really enjoyed The Priory of the Orange Tree. I did quite a good review in my other video about the TBR jar, so I'd recommend checking out that if you want a more detailed review of this book, but it was 4 stars. So the next book I read was The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. Now this book, I liked it, but I didn't like it. I loved the concept. It was soft fantasy, brilliantly done, but at first it didn't seem like it was going to be memorable for me, so I put it for 3 stars, mainly because I didn't like the self-help vibe. Like, it was a great concept, but I feel like there's too many plot holes for me, and I'm quite a perfectionist, or like I pick up the details, so that wasn't really working for me. I kind of reread it briefly, and I decided to move it to 4 stars because there are some genuinely really good points. I loved Nora as a character. She was really cool, and I loved exploring her lives, and it makes me think, like, what lives could I explore? So that's the reason why I give it, upped it from 3 stars to 4 stars. But I will say, make your mind up for that one. Some people love it, some people hate it. I feel like it's just a thing you have to try out. Okay, so the 6th book I read this year is Know My Name by Chanel Miller, and this book made me so angry. The justice system is designed to be victim blaming and not really helping those. They focused way too much on how he was an Olympic swimmer, or soon to be Olympic swimmer, rather than the fact that no, he assaulted this woman. They focused on his potential and her past, completely broken the system is. I would say read this with caution, check the triggers. You can check those on Storygraph, I believe, because this book did make me feel a lot of things, and it was honestly quite hard to read sometimes because you just feel so upset and angry. But it's essential, it's really important that I read this book, and I think you should too if you decide to, because it's not a story, this is someone's life, and it could be life, and it could be lots of other people's lives too. So I would highly not recommend, that sounds bad, because it's not a story, it's a memoir. I would say read this if you can. It was also 5 stars from me. Next up we have Lovelus. Now this book is charming. I haven't read a book like it before, and I love that it was kind of my first dive into LGBT fiction. So you follow this character Georgia as she starts her university degree, and it focuses on exploring sexuality, becoming who you are, true to yourself, and also the struggles of friendships as you grow older. And it's such a heartwarming read. It does have some cringy bit at times, but honestly, yeah, it's a recommendation from me, and it was 4 stars. So the next book I read was actually an online PDF, which I know isn't great, but I didn't really want to buy this book. It was called American Queen, and honestly didn't vibe with it, so 3 stars, we'll leave it at that. So the last book I read on January 30th was The Flat Share by Beth O'Leary, and I loved it. I absolutely adore Tiffy as a character. Tiffy is so amazing. I want to be her, honestly. I love the way her style was described and the way she acts. Like, yeah, it's a really enjoyable book. And Leon as a character, also, like, you can tell he was written by a woman, if you know what I mean. He's kind of perfect. So I'd say it was unrealistic, but so heartwarming and just like a nice read to sit down to. Like, it had me hooked. I was reading it all day. So that was a 5-star read, and that is it. That is the last book I read last month. I hope you enjoyed this short little video. I just wanted to kind of talk to you guys about what I've read this month, and I can say what I'm hoping to read next month is I really want to read Hamnet. I bought it in January, and I was trying to get through some of my other TBRs first, but hopefully I get through this book. I'm reading another book at the moment called Surprise Me, so we'll see how that goes, and if it really does surprise me. That was a really bad pun. I'll try my best to remember to make a what I read in February, but for now, thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video. I will see you next time.